Hello everyone and welcome to another rousing episode of Spill the Tea Tuesday. My name is Flossie and I am a mindset coach. If you would like one-on-one coaching with me, links will be in the description box below, as well as links for my SP course, Nikki's manifestation evaluation, and our custom rampages, affirmation, reels, and subliminals. So, as you know, I made a post and I asked everybody what they want to discuss, and I picked the topics most interesting to me or most requested. So grab a chair, take a seat, because you know I'm going to be dropping deets all about manifestation. As you know, I do shit rapid style around here. So I'm just going to get into the questions. I had a bunch of questions involving everyone as you pushed out, so many that I talked to Nikki, and we are going to make a collab video talking about everyone as you pushed out and explaining how that relates to manifestation, because it is the basis, or in my opinion, a lot of the law of assumption. And when you understand that, manifestation becomes easier and simpler for you. And because there are so many questions that literally had to do with everyone as you pushed out, that is just going to be in a video by itself. So look forward to that. But as far as the other questions I'm going to address, there were a ton about revision. So I'm going to explain revision and why I think that it works, as well as how to do it, and then answer some of the specific questions about revision. So you have to keep in mind that your thoughts create. Your thoughts and assumptions are what's mirrored back to you, reflected back to you in your 3D reality. So if you change your memory of an event, if you change your thoughts and assumptions about a relationship cycle, a pattern, or something that's happened, that has to be mirrored back to you, reflected back to you in your 3D reality. That's why I think the revision works. I don't think a lot of people actually talk about why revision actually works, but that's why I think that it works. Our thoughts and assumptions create. You change your thoughts and assumptions, hello, your reality is going to change to conform to your new thoughts and assumptions, period. Because your old thoughts and assumptions are going to go where? In the trash, where they belong. So, revision, the simple instructions. Doesn't matter whether you're doing a visual or you're doing it with affirmations. You will, if you're doing a visual, and I'm going to give the instructions up front so that I don't have to repeat them 500,000 times in this video. If you're doing a visualization, you create a short scene and you loop that scene. That should be like 5 to, I'd say 10 to 15 seconds max. And you start the event and then you completely change the ending. You change it how you want it to go, or you revise the event completely, whatever. You create something that your mind is going to be able to get a hold of. And you just create this scene of how you wanted things to go. And you loop that scene for several minutes. You're just going to loop that scene over and over again. And you're going to do that 2 to 4 times a day for a minimum of 3 days. But it's not just for 3 days. It is until you feel great about that visualization. Your first thoughts of that event, memory, what have you, is the visualization, the revision that you're changing it to. Or the only memory you have of the event is the revision. There have been clients of mine and people that I've known who have changed an event because they literally got to the point that they pretty much didn't really remember what happened. Maybe they had some knowledge of something that occurred, but they literally only remembered the revision. You can do the same with affirmations. You create affirmation statements. Typically, depending on what it is, you'll create a past perfect participle sentence, which is have been, have treated, have loved, has felt, etc. You create affirmation statements using that verb tense with an absolute like always. And then you, almost the same thing as a visualization, you loop those affirmations for several minutes, 2 to 4 times a day for a minimum of 3 days, but until you feel great about those statements, until your first thought of the event or whatever cycle pattern that you're revising is a revision, or your only thought about that subject is the revision. You can use revision for anything, period. I've got all these, I would like to start out by saying though first, I say that prior to doing a revision, Write the FU letter and burn it about the situation. Get all your emotions out. Deal with all your feelings about the situation, because you want to get rid of all that shit so that you aren't holding on to it while you're trying to revise it. So first step, write the FU letter. Write everything you want to say to that person, event, place, thing, whatever. How you feel about it, how you felt, how you feel about manifesting it. Burn that shit and then do the revision. But going on to the questions now that we've got that out of the way. Can any bad experience with a specific person be revised? SP and I aren't together because of a bad experience. How to revise and manifest SP back. Create a scene that works for you, that gets rid of the whole bad experience. Create a visualization that gets rid of it. And then do the instructions that I gave at the beginning, and then affirm and persist for what you want. If you want you and your SP to be together, affirm that you're in a loving, committed relationship, that you're so grateful to be in this loving, committed relationship. You're so happy to be in this loving, committed relationship, and revise the F out of whatever happened until you literally, your first thought is a revision, period. When you revise, does the other person forget? I have been told by numerous people that when they revised a situation, the other person did forget, literally. Or they maybe remembered that there was an argument, but the argument wasn't like a knockout, drag out. It was like a tiny little thing that they were wondering, like, why aren't we speaking anymore? So can you revise to the point that someone else forgets? Yes, because your thoughts and assumptions create, period. Okay? Well, with an SP, can you write or change events of the past? Absolutely. Go back to my previous explanation. Revising an old story where your SP kissed other people to the story that you're the only one he's kissed or been with. I would affirm things like, I'm the only woman SP's ever been with. I'm the only woman SP has ever made out with. I am the only woman that SP has ever been with. Hardcore facts. I'm the only woman they've ever wanted. I'm the only woman they've ever been with. I am the only woman their junk has ever worked for. Fact. You hear the verb tense. You hear that I'm saying always. The other thoughts, yeah, they go over there. Trash can. The owl over there. How to revise a relationship with no evidence in the 3D or without checking the 3D for confirmation. How to act to be in a committed relationship if you aren't. Well, you revise the relationship with either creating, like I said, the revision scene, or, my relationship has always been perfect. Our relationship has always been perfect. We have always been madly in love with each other. Period. You stay laser focused that your relationship has always been perfect, that you have always loved each other, that you have always gotten along, that you've always been in a healthy, loving, committed relationship. And then you stop looking to the 3D for confirmation because you kick the manifestation off the pedestal. You affirm for you affirm for your self-concept, and you affirm for your manifestation. When you do those things, that takes the manifestation off the pedestal. It makes you not have that desperate need to look for evidence because you're like, no, this shit is mine. It belongs to me. And you don't have to roam around the 3D acting as if you're in a relationship. You don't have to hand out invites to a wedding to someone that you're not even engaged to or in no contact with. No, people are going to think that you're delusional. Okay. What you do is in your mind, you are in that relationship. You embody the state of the person who's in the relationship with your specific person because you are in your mind affirming, thinking to yourself, I'm an amazing wife. I'm an amazing partner. I'm an amazing girlfriend. I feel more loved than I ever have been. Our relationship is absolutely perfect. Our relationship is stronger than ever. I am so happy, peaceful, content being in my relationship with or being married to, and you affirm and persist in that. In your mind, you're in this loving, healthy, committed relationship. In the 3D, it may not look that way, but you're not having to run around making wedding invitations and handing them out. No. This question wasn't asked specifically as a revision question, but I'm going to deal with it with revision. I was manifesting a job I thought I had in the bag, but how to get over defeat for something that you want that's not coming. Sorry, cat. So, first of all, I'd write that FU letter about not getting the job, what you wish you could say to those people, how you feel about not getting it, and how you feel about manifesting not getting it, and then I'd burn that shit, and then I would revise that I did get it, and I would affirm, you can either revise the rejection letter, revise the rejection email, revise the rejection phone call, or you can literally affirm, I was so happy that I got that job. I got that job so easily. They offered me that job immediately. They offered me the perfect starting salary, and you literally affirm and persist in those things that you got that job, that everything went the way that you wanted, that you're so happy and grateful to have that job. And while you may not wake up in a reality where you're instantly handed that job, the interesting thing is the clients that I've had that have done this have literally had the person that accepted the job back out and then they got it. So they ended up getting exactly what they wanted. You just revise that shit, write the FU letter, revise that shit, throw the thought of not getting it in the garbage can right over there, and then keep affirming and persisting that you have that job. You're so happy that you work there. Like, affirm it like it's already happened. You have it right now. You've already had it. It's already happened. Period. Period. The next set of questions have to do with parallel realities and the like of that. Parallel realities, I'm being asked, do they exist? Yes, in my reality that they do. I believe that they do. Why? Because I've experienced reality shifts that I've explained in other videos. I left the house with a pair of headphones in my tiny dinky pocket, showed up somewhere, they weren't there, literally searched everywhere. I was on the phone with the same person. They witnessed this entire episode of me having headphones, not having headphones. I show up back home expecting, well, you know, if they're not in my pocket, maybe I thought I put them in there and I didn't, and they're going to be sitting on the table. No, they weren't on the table. I reached in my pocket. They were in there. Clearly, reality shift. I've seen it other times. I've explained it in videos. So I think that they exist. And that is literally why circumstances do not matter. Because as you're affirming and persisting for what you want, you will become the version of you that has that, which means you will become the version of you in the reality that has exactly what you want. You don't have to sit there and subscribe to parallel realities. You don't have to try to understand parallel realities. You just know that you end up getting your shit, period. Can someone manifest your SP? No, because in your reality belongs to you. People who subscribe to parallel realities understand that that other person will get that specific person in their reality, because that happens in their reality, but not in your reality. There are literally multiple realities with all different versions of people and all different events. That's what I personally subscribe to. You don't have to necessarily fully subscribe to those premises, but just know that in your reality, no one else can manifest your specific person but you. If it appears that someone's manifesting your specific person, it's because you have the thoughts and assumptions that someone else is manifesting them, getting them, or that you can't have them, or that they don't want you, whatever it is that you're telling yourself, the ridiculous assumptions you have in your brain that go, you know exactly where, that you need to put over there, you know, whatever. You need to just put that shit over there and get it out of your mind so that you can get exactly what you want. You're asking can you manifest your specific person if they're manifesting someone else? Of course you can, because in your reality, they can't manifest someone else unless you've somehow either I have the assumption that they have the free will to manifest someone else, which they don't, because it's still your assumption and you're giving them the free will, or you have the assumption that they're manifesting someone else. It still boils down to what? Your assumptions, aka your thoughts, your free will. Stop giving your free will away, period. And then someone says, what if SP knows about manifestation? So what? I would just have the assumption in my reality doesn't matter if my specific person knows about manifestation, because it's my reality, my free will. I get what I want. Facts. Facts. So that's what I have to say about that. Then they're wondering thoughts about thoughts transmission. You have to remember that your thoughts and assumptions create. That's the very basis of everyone is you pushed out. And if you subscribe, believe, have the assumption that thoughts can transmit, they can transmit. In my reality, they can, because I literally have thought something and then had someone in my reality literally answer my question within a matter of anywhere from minutes to hours to the next day of the exact information that I wanted. Period. So clearly my thoughts transmitted because I literally thought I want this information, and then a very certain person provided it to me. Is it the subconscious mind that manifests? Yes. Do we need to impress it? I believe that that's kind of a yes and no answer. I believe that it's yes, but it's not always necessarily a firm yes. And that'll be answered further, because you say, can you manifest without impressing the subconscious? I would say that that's still kind of the yes, no. And let me get to it. It says, is it possible to impress the subconscious without being consciously aware that it happened, and why manifestation showed up out of the blue? So I don't think that you necessarily need to impress your subconscious with the exact item that you want to manifest. So for example, one day I got a family member manifested to my house down to the minute that I said. right? That's an actual example that I wanted. Did I believe it was possible? Yes. Did I actually think I was going to get that? No. But because I thought it was possible that people can show up down to a time that I say, like, I think that that is possible. And I know that I'm the operant power, and that whatever has to move for me to move to get my manifestation, whatever needed to move, moved for me to get my manifestation. Was my brain absolutely impressed that someone was going to show up at a minute that I said no? Because it was like, it was said as a joke, but it still happened because I already had other assumptions in place that would allow it to happen. So if I have assumptions that money comes to me from all sources and out of the blue, and I am not specifically affirming to win the lottery, and I play the lottery and I win it, I could have assumptions that I always win somewhere. I could have assumptions that money comes to me out of the blue. I get money from all sources, which is something I affirm all the time. So when I get money from random sources, I don't sit there necessarily specifically affirm for that source. So was that actual specific manifestation impressed? No, but I had other assumptions that allowed that manifestation to come through. I didn't have resistance to how I got that manifestation because I didn't have any negative thoughts or assumptions about it. Do I think winning the lottery is possible? Yes. Do I think that I could get money being deposited in my bank, finding it on the street, getting an inheritance? I mean, the list is endless of different ways that I think it's possible to get money. So if I suddenly got money out of the blue deposited in my bank, I don't specifically affirm for that, but it could still happen, even though that specific idea is not impressed in my subconscious, because I have other assumptions that will allow that to come forth. I'm hoping that that makes sense. I do think that overall, your assumptions are impressed in your subconscious, and that's what manifests. You manifest from your subconscious, but I don't think that you necessarily have to have that exact affirmation for the manifestation impressed in your mind for you to get something that you want. I think it's the other assumptions that can bring that forth to you. And I think that there's another question where I actually kind of explain that a little bit more, but so it's kind of like a yes, no answer. Yes, you have assumptions that are there that are already impressed. You may not need to have this specific assumption of what you're manifesting in order to get it. Just like you may not have this specific assumption that there's going to be a third party, but if you feel unworthy of love and affection, you feel like your relationships always end, you feel like men always leave you, you may manifest a third party because of those other assumptions, like your relationship cycles or patterns. Period. Moving on. So, desires. Why do we sometimes get unexpected desires? Why do I start to want something or someone that I've never thought of before? Your desires come from your God self, your higher self, your God self, which is connected to the God, which is connected to all the consciousness, etc., that there is. However it is that you want to look at it, whether it's God essence, whether it's higher self, whether it's your higher consciousness, it's connected to all there is, whatever terms you want to use, there is a part of you, the part that manifests, that is connected to this God essence, right? And your desires literally come from that part of you. So you may want something at your core, right? And then your God self identifies what that is, and then you have a desire for something. So let me kind of give an example. Let's say you want to make a lot of money. You want to have a lot of money come forward to you, and you like to have a business, but you have no idea what business that you want. But you'd like to earn money from a business. Well, there might be an idea or a desire that comes to you that you have no idea where it comes from. And that is your God self bringing forth something to you that meets a desire that you already have. You may want to be in a loving, committed relationship with a certain type of person. And you then may find yourself having a desire to be with someone that you wouldn't have considered before, because your God essence recognizes that that person could fulfill that other desire that you have. So when you have desires, it comes from your God self, and usually it's feeding another desire that you have. It's fulfilling that other desire rather than feeding it, but it's fulfilling another desire that you already have within you, that's already come from your God self. So you're just being awakened to another opportunity, another avenue, another pathway to get a desire met. That's the way I look at it anyway. Does therapy affect manifesting? Will it just be repeating the old story? As you guys know, some of you know, I'm not a therapist, but I'm kind of in a similar field. I'm never going to not I'm not going to ever tell someone not to get therapy. I think therapy can be very useful. I would personally have the assumption going into therapy that I'm not sitting here just like that, that's not going to keep me in the old story, that I'm going to use it as a tool to get to where I need to go. Because as we know, we all embody states, and states can be the state of depression, the state of anxiety, the state of mental instability, as well as the state of happiness, the state of feeling secure, and, the state of feeling mentally stable. And so while I would be affirming and persisting for the mental states that I would want to experience, I would use therapy as a tool to get me to where I need to go. I would just have the assumption that it is going to help me to process whatever I need to process so that I can get from A to Z and embody the state that I want to have. You can also not necessarily just do talk therapy. There's other therapies like EMDR, which is the eye movement desensitization. I always forget what the R stands for. I've personally used it to deal with past trauma. You literally focus on a trauma. They have you do some certain eye movements, and it's so that your brain can properly process trauma that it was unable to process at the time. A lot of people like EMDR. You can also look to see if you can find a therapist that practices law of assumption, or maybe at least law of attraction, so that they have some basis understandings of some of the concepts that we choose to live by, that we embody, because, they're fact. But having said that, you can find therapists that are aware of that so that you can use those types of therapists, but get the therapy. I just wouldn't have the assumption that it's going to keep me stuck in the old story. I would have the intention that the therapy is going to release the old story. It's going to get me to where I need to go, that I quickly get through the sessions, and I wouldn't like be rehashing the old story every single session. Just keep in mind, sometimes therapists will talk to you in a 3D manner, but you can affirm and persist that I have a therapist who completely understands me. He or she says everything that I need to hear. I get so much out of my sessions. My emotional state is completely changed because I've gone to therapy. That's what I would personally do. How to get what we want and keep it consistently coming when it shows up. So this is some of the basis of Everyone Is You Pushed Out. Nikki and I are going to do a video on it. One of our next few videos is going to be about Everyone Is You Pushed Out. But basically, you're going to affirm and persist for what you want. You're going to stay laser focused on what you want. You're going to embody the state of the person who has what they want. And then you're going to keep persisting in it until it hardens into fact. If you want something to keep coming and to be consistent, you keep affirming and persisting and keep your thoughts focused on what you want, positive, in the line with your manifestation, until it's to the point that you don't even have to think about it, that it's an assumption. You see it all the time. You don't even have to think about it. And even then, you're still going to keep your thoughts in line with what you want to experience, because you're not going to let your mental diet go in the trash. No, because you want to keep experiencing what you want to experience and not have any backtracking. So that's what you do to get your manifestation and to keep it. Manifesting my SP, but parents just fixed my marriage with another guy. How to cancel this marriage? I would be affirming things like, I am so happy and grateful that so-and-so found another wife to marry, or I'm so grateful that my parents canceled this marriage and that so-and-so found someone else that they're arranged with. Like, I would have an affirmation that, or a few, that would be in a tense, like it's already happened, that I was so happy, I'm so relieved that my parents canceled this wedding or this marriage agreement with so-and-so, and that he's found someone else. Like, I'm happy that they've canceled it. I'm grateful, I'm relieved, and that he's found somebody else. And then I'd affirm and persist for the person I do want to be with, because whoever has to move will move for you to get your manifestation. And those are facts. Circumstances do not matter. So someone asked a question about what I think of Reiki or other energy medicine, basically. It's your assumption. I do think that we're energy, we're energetic beings. Our whole body is always energy running all the time. We are full of a lot of energy. I am actually a Reiki master. I've experienced Reiki. I've also been a body talk practitioner, which is another form of energy medicine. I have the assumption that it works, and it's worked for me. But it is like anything. If you literally have the assumption that it doesn't work, it's not going to work on you. If you have the assumption it does work, it is going to work on you. But I do believe that it works. I'm a practitioner of two different types, and I like to practice it. How to manifest something out of the ordinary instantly, even though you have resistance to it. That is going to be your base assumptions about how your reality works. If you form the assumption that I always immediately get what I want, no matter what, period. I instantly get what I want, no matter what. I would affirm stuff like that. I never have any resistance to anything. Some people don't like to affirm in negatives. It's how it works for you. It's how you feel about it. But I literally would affirm. I always get my desires instantly, no matter what. I have zero resistance. I never have any resistance. You can affirm those assumptions about the reality if you want, and if you believe that's possible, but that's what I would do. And if you form those assumptions about your reality, I would just affirm and persist that I literally had what I want. I would embody the state of the person that had that. I would think from the mindset of the person that has that. So if it's a ton of money that you want instantly, I am so happy and grateful that I have more than enough money that I could ever spend. Whatever it is that you want to do, you stay laser focused on exactly that. But I think that this type of question is the base assumptions that you form out how your reality works. Because if you think and you have assumptions that you can't manifest quickly, you can't manifest anything, you have resistance to, that it takes forever to manifest something, blah, 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 that is going to be what's mirrored back to you, reflected back to you, because that's what everyone as you pushed out. That's how everyone as you pushed out work. Whatever your thought and assumption is about your 3D reality is what you're going to see. It's what you're going to experience. It is what you're going to get. That's why we tell you guys, don't sit there and focus on like looking in 3D for confirmation, looking at the time, because do you want to manifest looking in more time? No. I don't even need to say it. You already know where it goes. Someone else was asking how to get rid of guilt when manifesting an SP who's currently in a relationship with someone else. First of all, I probably would write a letter about that situation, how I felt about it, and I'd burn it. I'd write a letter about my feelings and emotions, how I felt about it, why I felt like I felt that way. I just would write everything I thought about it, like that I'm mad that I feel this guilt, or I don't like feeling this guilt, whatever that it is. I'd get the emotion out about it. And then I literally would affirm and persist that I'm in the relationship with my specific person. And then you can lovingly affirm for that other person to be in a wonderful relationship with someone new being the key word. And you're like, I'm so happy that they have found the most amazing man and they're in a loving, committed relationship with this other person or woman. Affirm for that. But as far as feeling the guilt, you have to remember that this is your reality. It's yours. So I wouldn't manifest feeling guilty about having a specific person, even if they had been with someone else. Why? Because it's your reality. And in your reality, that other person can happily be with somebody else. Because if your specific person is in love with you, they're not going to be happy, right? Right. So when you're affirming and persisting for your specific person, whatever has to move is going to move for you to get that manifestation. Why would that person want to be in a relationship with your specific person who's going to love you and worship the ground you walk on? They want to be worshiped, right? Or, you would think that that's what they would want, because that's kind of how we think in our realities. So I would write the FU letter to deal with my guilt, do some EFT to deal with my guilt, but I would affirm and persist for what I wanted. And then I would lovingly affirm that they're happy with somebody else. Because if they're happy with someone else, obviously you wouldn't really feel guilty, right? Because they're half happy. You get what they want. They're happy. There you go. So those are the questions that I'm going to answer for today. So many of the questions had to do with everyone as you pushed out that, like I said, I talked to Nikki so that we can do a collaboration video on everyone as you pushed out, help you guys to get a deeper understanding of it. So a lot of these questions, you can just go poof right out of your mind, because once you understand everyone as you pushed out, you won't have some of these questions. So you know the deal. I will make a post here soon. I'm sorry it hasn't been every week because I've been in school, clinicals, been hellacious busy, but I will make a post soon asking for your questions. And then I will pick the ones most interesting to me and make another Spill in the Tea videos where I drop the deets all about manifestation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on the channel so you get notified when Nikki and I upload cool stuff like subliminals, rampages, new content, and, just have some fun. Happy manifesting. And what do I always say? Just get your shit. Period. See you next time.